Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room that we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. Justin and Travis, you did it. You got out of the room. Congratulations.
We did it.
You
I feel good.
Are you impressed? Be honest.
This is the best thing I've ever done with my life.
I am impressed.
How did we do?
It was really cool because, I mean, it was exactly what I hoped from the room, really, which was the going around, acquiring clues, feeling totally kind of bombed by how much there was and how few avenues it seemed there were to succeed. But as soon as you realized that your team was untrustworthy, it blew the case wide open.
Yeah.
Suddenly you were solving things left and right.
I do not like that Mr. Howe one bit. If you were
right,
No,
he's the
trust
worst.
him.
I like that in this scenario, my character, mine and Justin's character, did not scream at him because real life Travis would have not cared about my job at all. Like in that moment, all that would have mattered was the escape room, and I would have yelled at him so hard.
I've seen it happen in
I get
real
that.
life. It's not pretty.
I've brought our dad to tears. I'm not proud of it, but I would do it again. If he was going to cost me some kind of record time, I would melt Clint McElroy to the ground with my words.
Now,
I have
has this
shared in
happened-
chat, in case y'all need it for your records, I have shared my notes page.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you
Justin,
so
yours was
much.
so much more reasonable than mine.
I have to beg people for their notes.
Okay, I'll send you mine
There
right
are-
now. Mine look like the
Those
ravings
are my notes.
of a madman.
It's beautiful.
Now, okay, now I need to know something. What department does Jenny work in?
She works in sourcing. That's a department that news would have, right?
Yeah, you got to find source.
Sorry,
Sourcing. That's why you
yeah,
said
We've got a bit of a
SWR.
language break.
Okay.
We've got a
Good
bit
point,
of a
good
language
point.
barrier here. Because I did write saucing. Because I thought... So I was not trolling you by people of Australia.
It makes a lot
sorry
more
about that. I
sense.
think
Oh, no,
at some
internet.
point I called her the sauce boss.
Yep.
It's because I thought she worked in some sort of sauce
Oh
department.
no, come
And
on.
I am terribly sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think like that's the key with this room is knowing that, because you have to kind of know the rules of what you're doing, and one of these rules is your teammates are dummies and they're hiding things from you, and that's like a hard hill to get over.
Oh, for sure.
I shared my
And
notes
I'm
too.
not
You can
usually-
see how absolutely bonkers compared to Justin's.
Yeah.
Justin's are very neat and orderly. Mine just go in wherever my brain's like, now here, scribble, scribble.
Now, the only blind alley on mine is you'll see a sort of what looks like an open book at the upper left-hand corner. That was originally going to be when I began a 3D modeling of the room, and then I
Ah, yeah.
realized that is
Oh, boy.
absolutely not happening. We are going to switch to a 2D top-down view of the room.
Oh man. I keep trying to come up with 3D versions of the room pictures, for when we get proper art done to see what it might look like. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work. 3D does not work in my brain, apparently.
The one time I tried to do something even slightly three-dimensional, I realized I was doing it in two separate perspectives.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
everything
no.
was bending away from each other in very weird ways.
I used to be a set designer for theater, and when it came time to draw the three, I just could not remember how perspective worked. And I was a professional. I did it. I was paid to do it. And every time I was like, you know what? I'll just draw flat drawings of everything. I'll just do drawings of everything. But I also luckily was also the person building them, so I could half-ass it as much as I wanted. I knew what it needed to look like.
Ah, fabulous. All right, now I feel like we should talk about. Do you have any idea what the theme of this season is going to be?
Is it through the looking glass ones?
It's not going to be all through the looking glass. That was just by sheer coincidence what this meta escape room was. But
Oh.
the overall theme of the season.
It is odd, right? Usually our escape rooms aren't also escape rooms. This was a virtual escape room that in itself was an escape room. Usually you'll be like, oh, I'm really a spy in a place. Oh, I'm really doing this. And now you just got to pretend that you are in a different escape room, which is kind of weird.
I mean, I don't like designing the the meta stuff.
It's
Doing it
a
was
bit
fine.
like running a D&D campaign where you go, all right, I'm going to roll a die to see how well my character rolls a die to see how well his character attacks that.
That sounds great.
It's like when you're writing in creative writing class and it's like you sat in front of the blank paper, unable to figure out what to write about.
Yeah,
My high
exactly.
school banned us from doing that.
Fair enough. But yeah, so usually it's not that sort of way. So they
yeah,
won't
it's a
all
little
be escape
different.
rooms.
But yeah, the actual story only comes in right at the end.
I have.
and it's still
when
vague.
I did the play test for this, and I had my guess for what's going on with this storyline.
Mhm.
Because I'm trying to think like what's a movie effectively? Because Danny always bases them on movies, and
Or
it was
Luigi's Mansion.
It was that moment of getting back home and lying in bed, and suddenly you see a little red light in the corner of the room, sort of. So I'm thinking that's another camera, right?
Oh, interesting.
Oh, is this
I like
a Truman Show based thing?
I think this is a Truman Show.
If there's
I
a
think
Truman
it's-
Show where you have to watch a human being do an escape room, I am changing the channel.
Are
That
you
is not a
kidding
Truman
me?
Show
I would
wanna watch.
love that. I'd be screaming at my TV like, "The clock hands, you fool!"
You idiot! It spells names.
Now, would it make you feel better or worse if Hal and Ginny were being deliberately incompetent
See,
to try
that-
to make you seem more
That
dramatic?
actually makes me feel better. That
You're
makes
being punked.
Well, I think it makes my character more sympathetic. You know what I mean? Because at that
Yeah.
point, you're like rooting for me, but you also realize like the dramatic irony of like he doesn't even know. He doesn't even.
doesn't even
I
know.
know he doesn't know. Ugh, I've been there. My boss is dumb too.
Ah.
Did you guys have anything like once you cracked that moment of needing to get the thing that Hal had found, you guys smashed through those puzzles. You were incredibly quick on the clocks. It was
I
great.
gotta say, I love the pacing of this room, where it's like it's the ideal thing that you want from an escape room, where you get like all the pieces, and then you find the one domino
Yeah.
that like where you start to work backwards
was
from there. Like a lot of escape
definitely
rooms,
how
you
you
hit
do
it,
it.
and there's like another lull after that, where it's like, okay, now we're kind of back searching, but this one was just like momentum after you found the one thing that sort of got it rolling.
That is
And
always
that's what you hope. So
that is
I'm
always
really
a
glad
moment.
that you found it that way.
Yeah, the
Travis, please let her accept my incredible compliment.
right.
And then you can move on with yours.
Wait, are you going to say but? After
no.
this? I wasn't prepared for
no.
that.
What I've run into is like a lot of escape rooms. In order to fill an hour, will move to like a second room. You open up a door that wasn't there, and now you're in the second room. At which point
I love that though.
you do. Well, I
love
like
that
it if it's
because
done well.
When I walk in a room, I'm like, this is it? I'm going to solve this in 10 minutes. And then there's like, wait, another room? It was very novel the first 3 times that it happened. And then it's in every escape room at this point.
The only time that has ever really gotten me the reveal was like it was a magician's like dressing room, and it was like a disappearing woman cabinet thing. That then the back opened up, and I was like, okay, I wasn't ready for that. But they move into the second room, and if they have you like start completely over, and it's like, okay, well, okay. And what
I reckon that's the key to a second room is that you should be also like going back to stuff from the first
Yes.
room and being like, wait, now I understand.
You gotta have
this
that
was this the
carryover,
whole
yeah.
time.
My
When
only
they're unconnected,
rule
it just
is,
feels like they just designed 2 small rooms. Went just stick them together.
Yeah.
My only rule is don't have another room open up when you know they're going to have like 5-10 minutes left to go, because that's just going to create panic and not wonder.
But how do you do that with if someone's super dumb and they're like,
I
oh,
know.
I've almost got this room done, and you're like, oh no, that's the first room, and they're 45 minutes in.
Yeah. Good. It's a good question.
I suppose that's when the game master is like coming in to be like, just a quick, maybe you should check that cabinet for the note that is in the cabinet. Guys, the cabinet over the like that,
Yeah.
just to make sure they're
But
on
see,
pace.
this is why we do a podcast and not a real escape room, because we can curate our guest list to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, we don't get we don't get those.
I will say there was a
Dummies on the show.
moment until we like realized Mr. Howe was a piece of crap, where I was just like, well, Justin and I are a lot dumber than I thought. We haven't solved anything.
I mean, it's just you got to find that one bit and you crack the
Then
case.
we did it. It
So-
all fell into place.
Was there any particular puzzle that made you feel especially smart?
I like doing the jigsaw puzzle.
Ah.
Especially since
Yeah,
I managed
I
it.
like-
I was able to keep up a stream of consciousness discussion while I was doing it.
Yeah, I like the clock puzzle. Who doesn't?
You
like
got
a
you
clock?
you did so well on that clock puzzle. As soon as like Travis got that KNES and Justin just set it to 122. You'll see what happens.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing I've ever done.
Trust me on this.
It was the best thing I've ever
Ask
done with my
kids.
life. But
My kids, oh my God, my kids are knocking on the door. They say they respect me now. This is
Oh,
amazing.
wow,
I never
nice.
thought. Yeah, it's what a delight.
But no, you guys did really well. I also liked like straight away with the prostrate in front of the Queen.
Oh,
you were
yeah.
trying out like Justin. You had like a great. That's a picture of the Queen. I'm gonna prostrate myself.
Yeah, that was fabulous. That was really hard
And
because I
then
really
nothing
wanted to
happened.
tell you, oh my God, that's the right idea. Just not yet. Not at this.
That is
Thing.
honestly, that's something that trips me up in real escape rooms too. Is the question of, is there someone watch like?
Mm.
Is there a literal mechanical action we're taking here, or is there a person watching who is
Oh, for
judging?
sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
in my head, I was thinking
absolutely.
like, well, it wouldn't matter mechanically depending on the direction we were facing, unless there's a person watching it who is manually like
Very true.
deciding whether or not we solve the puzzle.
there was
Mhm.
my favorite / like most mind-boggling escape room experience. Just real quick, was like I was doing
Oh,
this
yeah.
escape room, and it was like hey, try this out for us and tell us how it goes and give us notes. Like it was a new escape room in Cincinnati.
Nice.
And they had this puzzle where like we found this like jug of water at one point. And then at another point, there was like a flower vase, a vase. And I was like, I think I should pour the water into this vase. But man, that feel like there was a hole at the bottom of the vase. And I was like, I feel like I'm about to break
Oh.
this. Am I supposed to pour the water in here? And I'm like, I was saying out loud, like, I'm going to pour the
Yeah.
water in here in like 2 minutes. If I'm not, someone needs to come stop me. Or I'm about to break whatever is inside of here. Please tell me. And I'm like, okay. And then I poured
Watching
the
the
water in
camera.
and it opened the cabinet. I was like, oh, thank God. I thought I was about to break your stuff.
But that's true. That's a classic like escape room moment of just the like, okay, I think I know what to do, and you just stare at the camera, just like,
I'm doing this.
This
this okay?
feels irreparable. Are you
Somebody
saw?
stop.
Okay.
It's always, or when the technology is so good that it does something that you just think, well, there's no way this could happen. Like, there's no way pressing this button is going to make this thing open. That couldn't possibly, no human technology could achieve that. I guess I'll do it anyway.
I have had
And,
the other
you know,
way happen where like
Well.
I was sure it unlocked the thing. I tried to open the door or the drawer or whatever and it didn't open. And then I just hear like, you gotta pull harder. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, are you
Been
sure?
there.
I feel pop. And then pops open. He's like, yeah, there you go. I'm like, okay, that's not okay.
Yeah, because you don't want to be the guy who just starts yanking stuff because it isn't opening.
And you're explicitly told not to.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like we had that in a really recent escape room where it specifically said pull gently on something, and then they said, sorry, that sticks sometimes.
Yeah, just give it a yank.
Immersive.
We've got Justin and I have to go take care of our separate
Of
children.
course.
Yes, it was lovely to have you on.
Thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you. Hey, if you're a fan of escape rooms, I want to give a quick plug to Lost Escape Room in Huntington, West Virginia. If you're ever in this neck of the woods, check it out. It's in the oldest building in the city, Davis Opera House building, which used to be a functioning theater where people like Will Rogers and John Barrymore and a lot of other people played. But now it's an escape room, Lost Escape Room. They got they're cycling games all the time, and we've done almost all of them that they've ever had. And it's great fun if you're ever in the area.
Hey, Justin,
Awesome.
can I give one quick note to my brother? It's really nice of you to plug him, but we do have a book that we could be plugging at this point in the show called Everybody Has a Podcast Except You. It's a how to podcast guide that we wrote that'll teach you how to make a podcast from start to finish that you're proud of. Our wives contributed to it. It's great. You can pre-order it, or I guess order it at this point.
Order it now. It's been out for a week by this point.
bit.ly
Oh, yeah, by
slash
this point.
McRoy
Yeah, good point.
podcast book. You can get it there. If you're somehow hearing this on the 26th, I don't know, in time for, I have no idea what time you'll be hearing this, but bit.ly slash McRoy podcast book event will take you to some information about a free show we're doing on the 26th at 9 p.m.
Well, it was great to have you. We'll have links to all of that stuff below where you can buy the book and watch the podcasts and catch up on all the cool stuff the McElroys are doing. All right, lovely. Justin and Travis have gone, but I have a few more questions for you, Danny.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Because I want to talk about stuff like, I ran the playtest for this.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that changed in the playtest?
Sure. How much of it can you remember?
Well, I feel like okay, this is a big one that changed was the so well solved clock puzzle.
Yes,
was
it
different
certainly
originally.
improved for the better.
Yeah, so originally that spelled Alice,
It did,
and it wasn't. How clued was it originally?
but like not.
Yeah, it was just like you should probably write Alice.
Yeah, it was pretty much the numbers, letters thing. That's done before.
Yeah,
But no, that was still
yeah. So we
doesn't
added
work.
so much cluing to that.
And
to
it
be-
works now.
Yeah.
I was almost worried that it was too much. I was worried that Travis was going to start lettering from the start.
No. Yeah, he didn't.
I was very relieved that didn't happen.
Yeah, because it is now solvable without finding the clue.
Potentially,
right?
yeah.
Because you just like, it says KNES, we see knaves written on those trees.
And
whatever.
yet they did it exactly the way that we hoped they would.
Yes, exactly how we thought. But yeah, so that was clued completely differently.
Mm.
I know there were some changes as well to like, we added more stuff. I feel like we added little wording changes to the stuff that Hal was doing.
Mostly. Yeah.
And maybe to Ginny as well. I feel like originally, so when we were doing the episode and they asked Ginny about the key, I was like, oh, something fell on my head. I feel like originally she didn't automatically say, yeah, a key fell on me. I feel like when I played, I had to ask her, did something fall on you? Was it a key? Can you give me the key?
I think that may have just been me. I think that was always in the notes.
So you
but
just...
see, you, out of all of the playing that this room has done, because it's been through a couple of playtests and now the real one, you were the only one who was immediately suspicious of your teammates.
That's true. I wonder why. I wonder why that's because I've been doing so much Solve This Murder.
Ah,
I
gotcha.
don't trust my people anymore.
And because we have done now meta rooms where the room was bad. Now,
True.
in this one, it was different because the room was not meant to be bad. But there was still meant to be a different element to it. Like that. Like, so yeah, you were expecting something to be up.
Mm.
Whereas on the second playtest, they were totally cool. They wanted Ginny's help.
True.
And then, yeah, in this one, in the actual recording, it ended up going more exactly the way that I expected it, which is not really noticing, not really thinking about it until, wait a second. Could they possibly be not just NPCs that do nothing? Could they be doing something?
Mm.
Which was kind of the progression that I expected it to take.
Awesome.
I like that you found them suspicious right away, though.
But it's good that, yeah, it's nice that it was set up that way. Because it really was that hurdle to get over.
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
and also making it a hurdle was nice because, like, as Justin was saying, the room has really good momentum, right? That once you crack it, it just goes bum, 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 bum to the end.
It is interesting how much momentum it
But a
picks up
lot
like
of that is because you have that hurdle. So people don't, it's that activation. Let's talk like a chemist. It's the activation energy, right?
Gotcha.
And so they can't quite hit it, so they have to keep collecting. So by the time they finally think, all right, how are we going to deal with this bloody table clue? They've already collected everything else. Whereas if it was too obvious, they would do that, get to the end of that run, and not know anything else, and it would have changed the momentum a lot.
And much like life, the people in it are the catalyst for change.
I really enjoy it. I think it's a cool start. I'm excited, like, by the idea of like, oh, you know, there's a camera on the wall. Who's watching? It's like, is it a Truman Show, or is it something more sinister, or is it something like where does that progress?
It is going to be very interesting, isn't it? Because obviously when you watch Truman Show, you look at the timing of how that movie plays out, how much of that is discovery of what's going on versus his attempting to get out of what's going on.
True. I mean,
Then how much, like, because that's not a thing that you can really play for 10
no.
for 10 podcast episodes when it is a known film. Like,
True.
it doesn't work that
So
way.
I'm really intrigued to see what will happen.
Yeah.
So I don't really know because I have no idea. So it'll be cool to see where it goes,
Yeah.
what it happens.
Speaking of, this little clearly plastic
Yeah,
triangle.
let's talk about this. Okay, I've got a little blue triangle. It's blue on one side. It's a little, what is that? An isosceles triangle? It's not
Yeah, I
equilateral,
guess so.
right? It's an isosceles
Definitely
triangle.
not equilateral.
It's not scaling. And on the back of it, it's got two marks, like vertically across it. So they look like marker marks. What it looks like is Danny has taken a piece of cardboard, cut it off, drawn something on it, and then cut it into little pieces. And it's going to be like an actual jigsaw that I'm going to put together later
Ah.
in person. That's what it looks like. So if I can find the stash, I can
There's
solve.
stash
I
searching.
can solve this meta puzzle way ahead of
Hey,
schedule
hey.
if I search the house for a stash of
Stop
puzzle
that.
pieces. But that'll be interesting And it's nice that like because I'm the one who's going to have all the pieces of the meta puzzle, right, in real life.
Well, I'm hoping that
It's nice
for
that
like
in-
episode 8 or whatever, we can have someone in person.
I guess we'll have to put together. You should. You see, that's interesting. Let me know when we need to put the puzzle together, and I'll try and make sure that one's someone who's local.
Huh.
But yeah, that's going to be really fun. We've only ever done a physical prop once before, I think,
Yes.
which was in Neil's magic room
Yeah,
back
with
at the
the
start of
playing
season
cards.
5. So it'll be fun to have something physical again. We can sell it for millions on the black market. But no, I really enjoyed the way this room was put together. Was there anything else that changed? I know some of the tree description changed.
Yeah, definitely just
but
little
most
things
of it
like the
was
description of the
pretty
speaker
much
and the
the
tree.
same.
The fact that there were little pictures of Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
How worried were you when Travis tried to break Humpty Dumpty before examining it, given that the action for Humpty Dumpty is that somebody else comes up and breaks it?
I mean, it's very easy to get around. You knock him over and he doesn't break that much because he's already a little broken. It takes some real effort to break this guy. Basically, I'm putting forward the conspiracy theory that Humpty Dumpty was deliberately murdered. There was no accident about it. So, no, not particularly worried. If I had considered that beforehand, maybe I would have treated it differently instead of just, doesn't break. But who knows?
Well, that was a lot of fun. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the room and how it's put together? Anything that was interesting? We did change. Oh, that was the other change. We changed the Jabberwocky
holes?
puzzle.
Yes.
We didn't change the puzzle. We changed
was always
just
that
the
counting.
presentation.
But yeah, the holes were in different sort of positions in the room. They were
Yeah.
not all in a straight line.
And so originally there was some it was like 3 across and then like 2 sets of 2 and then or something like that.
Yeah,
it was very
it
much
was like-
spaced out.
Exactly.
Into
Like
multiple
3-2,
columns of
3-2
different
or something.
like lengths, and because it had so much geometry to it, it was hard
That
to
made it
track
feel
that
important.
you were just going from the left to the right.
Yes.
And so it was hard to keep count. Because geometry like that is harder to think like that is clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
For sure.
So we changed it to 8 in a horizontal line, and I think that helped. I think that made it really
I think so.
like okay, I'm clearly going like it's number 1, then it's number 3, then it's number whatever it is after that 7, and then it's number.
I'm glad they did that quickly because my hinting system for that is just, okay, well, I'll say where the next one is, and then they've just got to find the one after that. But I have all that written in my notebook, which I do not have in front of me. So I'm glad that they got it first try.
I mean, Justin got that really quickly. And again, it's hinted with that again, an extra line that was added. No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I think it was.
Maybe it was extra added in
extra.
after the playtest of the queen may not know her 1, 2, 3s, but the dragon does.
Dragon.
The Jabberwocky does.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's really hard to kind of pull out of nowhere. So I think that a lot of cluing was added in the playtesting. And then that was structured differently physically so as to not be I don't know, not have an added element of confusion. Like it kind of takes away red herrings almost of like the shape matters. It's like top left and then bottom
Yeah.
right, and we got rid of all that.
Exactly.
But I had a lot of fun when I was playing it. It was really fun to have other new people play through it. As you said, we did a second playtest that isn't recorded, but the original playtest is a bonus episode for anyone who is a $5 patron. You can get all of the playtests that we run. So there'll be a playtest for this one coming out the same time that this episode comes out. It should already be out. So you can go and check that out.
It's raining.
It's currently raining, everybody. Wonderful. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoy the upcoming arc. I hope you all have fun. If you want to find more of Escape This Podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at EskThisPodcast. We're Escape This Podcast on Instagram. We have a Discord where you can chat with us and other fans of the show about puzzles and escape rooms or anything else that you want. And that is linked in the show notes below. And we also have a Patreon. So as we were saying before, we have bonus audio episodes for all of our $5 patrons. And the Patreon is not just for Escape This Podcast. It's an entire Consume This Media Patreon. So it's for Escape This Podcast as well as Solve This Murder and any other stuff that we do in the future. Which means for $5, you not only get all of our playtests, you get a series of 2-minute murder mysteries, or not 2-minute murder mysteries, 2-minute mysteries that we've been doing for Solve This Murder as well. So there'll be, at this point, a new episode of either of those every week because they both come out fortnightly. We also have badges for the $10 donors. We have, and any donor of any level, even for $1, has the capacity to have their name appear in the episode
yes.
as one of the NPCs, which I'm assuming we had today.
Absolutely.
Brian?
We had a few people. Yes, absolutely.
Ginny?
We had, Brian, our GM, Ginny, and Jonathan Howe.
Wonderful.
So thank
Well,
you so much, all three of you.
Congratulations, all of you, for appearing in our game. Wonderful. All right, I think we're all good. There are links to all of the McElroy stuff below if you want to go get a copy of Everybody Has a Podcast Except for You. It's now been out for a week.
Except for you?
Except you. Everybody Has a Podcast Except You. Yeah, that one.
What?
That's been out for a week, so go and check it out and buy it. And tweet at the McElroys and say, oh, you did so well. Because people like congratulations. All right.
I mean, I agree with that, but you managed to sound sarcastic with that, and that just made
They
me
did
think,
do very well.
how do you convey that sarcasm in a tweet like that?
Don't convey it with sarcasm. Be sincere. All right,
But
thank
no,
you,
that was
everybody,
impressive.
for listening. Thank you, Danny, for running such a cool
Thank
room.
you.
All right, wonderful. Bye, everybody.